Hey Ringside crew, welcome to the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. And now here's your host, Joe, Panther the Third.
Hello there, wrestling fans, and welcome to another episode of the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. I am Joe Panther the Third, and today, Ringside crew, we are adding another awesome photographer to my photographer wall. This lady is from the UK. Let's give a warm Dudes at Ringside welcome to Amber-Moon. Welcome.
Hey, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
No problem. So, when did you get into this fun world of photography, or did you go to college for it? Was it something you knew that you wanted to do?
I've always loved photography ever since I was little. It's kind of something that I've always done. But when I left school, I had no clue what I wanted to do at all, and I went into gas engineering, and that's what I got qualified in. And then yeah, it always took a back seat. And then 2-3 years ago, uh, my friend who is in the brand started wrestling. Um, And yeah, they needed a photographer this one day, and I was like, "Go on, then I'll have a go." And then I've just really took to it.
Wow. So what was like the first like thing you ever took a picture of? Was it like wrestling related, or was it like in an environment with animals or anything?
Oh god, the first picture I ever took. It was I think it was nature pictures with a little disposable camera that I had, and they were awful. Like I've still got them somewhere, but yeah, they were terrible. I
Mm.
still I still do nature pictures. I do weddings as well. I do anything that I can take pictures of. I just love catching the moment, no matter what it is.
Yeah, like with you being a photographer, like, is there ever a moment when you're taking your pictures? Do you like I asked this to another photographer this year? She did like deathmatch pictures. Do you just take your pictures and like keep clicking till you figure out what was the great angle, or do you know like when to drop the finger on it and take the picture?
At first, definitely, it was just hit the button and hope for the best. But as I've got like doing it more regularly, I definitely have got a lot better at knowing when to take the picture. The more I'm at a place as well, the more I spend with wrestlers, the better I am with them because I get the vibe like when they're gonna do a finisher, and I know where to put myself because I know what their finisher looks like. So, like, yeah, I've definitely learned though when the moment's gonna be there a lot more than say a year ago.
Mm. That's like the funny thing. Like most people, like you sit there and you know you're like, okay, is this the moment? No, 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 wait, I'm not gonna click the thing. Like what like have you ever been trying to like get a you think you got the best shot, but then you look at the picture after the show and there's a kid's arm in front of the picture,
I
like, and you're like, "Ah,
I
delete."
can't even tell you how many times that happens. Luckily enough, I have recently just upgraded my camera. So I went from like a Canon 4000D, which is a cracking, awesome little camera. But yeah, I'm on a Sony A7 now. So like my game is just completely improved because I can take 11 pictures a second now. So it really helps. In all fairness, I will admit that my camera definitely helps.
Awesome. Do you have any like cool like stories from a show as being a photographer?
Gosh, I mean, most of the time I get to shows and I'll spend an hour running around after people, trying to find out where the spots are, where the shines are. Are you jumping off anything today? Which angle are you jumping from? And I usually get about 5% of the information that I need. The useless, a lot of them. It's great. Um, not me. Ace Wheeler kicked another photographer in the face and like battered a camera into her face. I'm literally I was just saying this to Isaac North the other day that uh I have got like the proper vibe that I'm gonna get jumped on or landed on or like really actually hurt because it's not
Oh,
happened yet.
jeez.
But it's a real risk, honestly. Right when you running around that ring, honestly, the amount of the amount of injuries you can sustain, it's untrue.
Mm. So when you go to the shows and you're had to be the photographer for the promotion, do you like have to be there like at a certain time to know like the lay of the land around the ring?
Yeah, usually they still prefer they like me to be there for call time. So usually the like the final call that the wrestlers have to be there for, so I can be present for like when they have the like brief at brief before the show. So I generally have a good idea of what's going on, sort of from that.
Mm. So when you go to your shows, do you ever have to like pack a lunch and late dinner so you don't have to like eat at the venue?
I mean, luckily enough, I don't really eat that much. I'll be honest with you. I've got a terrible unhealthy diet that consists of lots of sugar. Um, but no, usually there's always like like something near the venue, like a sandwich shop. But the real issue I have with, or the only issues I have, is carrying on my gear, especially when I'm doing like promos, because it's a lot of gear to be shifting around. But I manage.
Do you ever like travel with or for like days doing wrestling shows, or is this like one show a weekend for you?
It's not necessarily always one show a weekend, but it's pretty much just, yeah. It's always in the local area within like a 2 hour drive. I'm not gonna lie, I tend to follow the brand around,
Mm.
but that's because they're usually my lift. So, um, but like I say, I'm usually at every single LWF show, and they've got just a ridiculous amount of shows. Like, I think at one point we've got like 4 or 5 in 1 month.
Wow.
I know, it's just insane. Just very busy.
I just that makes me have to wipe my mouth. That's why I wipe my mouth. I'm like, if I had that many indie shows in 1 month, I'd be like, no, my job would be not happy with me.
Honestly, the amount of time I spend editing. I did a show on Friday night for BTW, Bolton Town Wrestling. Um, and because of the lighting in the venue, it's made on my picture. The lighting on my pictures fluctuate so much because of the frequency, of the light. So it's like flickering on my pictures. So I've had to edit each individual picture. Every single one of them has been singularly edited, and I'm like, got one more match to do. I've got the promos and the in-ring pictures to do, and I've been going like 11 hours on it now. About,
Mm,
like, it's just ridiculous, but it's worth it. I enjoy it, and I really enjoy um the wrestlers' reactions when when I get a cracking picture of them as well.
mm,
Like Maddie,
awesome,
that picture that I got of her, she loved it, and it's nice to see that, and then they see how good they are as well. They can see how the world sees them.
awesome. We're gonna go into showing some of your pictures right now. I'm gonna show the fans some awesome art you do. Here we go. First one's this tag team picture. Like, how many times did you have to take this picture to get it right?
Just once. I don't. You don't have retakes. That was just taken.
Oh wow.
Um, yeah, that's the Lankadors from the LWF. They are absolutely brilliant and very funny people.
Definitely, if when you speak to them again, tell them about Dudes at Ringside because I love interviewing tag teams. I love hearing their different sides of their career and how they got them their starts and stuff like
Yeah,
that. You know what I
definitely.
mean?
Well, I've told a few people that I was coming on, so and they've asked me to let them, share the link with them and stuff. So, um, yeah, hopefully word will get around.
Fingers crossed. And here we go, another picture. Here we go, another tag, another picture.
Yeah, that's the brand. So Ryan and Josh I've known for far too long, probably about 10 years now. Way before they started wrestling. But they're like amazing. That I love they're like the anti-hero. You know what I mean? They're not good. They're not bad. They're just very in a very CM Punky type of like a heel type thing.
Mm. So they're both heels, like they're both bad guys, or just like one's
Yeah,
good
yeah,
sort of bad guy.
yeah. Both bad guys.
Mm. I'm on the fence about the bad guys, but the bad guys are there and they do their job the right way, then they're fine.
I always love the bad guys. I have watched wrestling since I was like young. Like the Attitude Era was when I grew up watching it, and I always liked the bad guys. Always, always. I don't like the good guys because it's not real. Nobody's ever that good.
And then we have this one. Another. Well, I like this one.
That's Wes. He's again. I think he trained at the same place as Maddie. Um, unbelievably talented. I think he's only like 16 or 17 or something. So really young. Absolutely fantastic. Really, really, really fantastic.
Awesome. And last but not least, former most last year's guest, and I was so happy to have her on, the one and only Mandy. There you go. Look at her. Full moony, full moon. I feel like I'm saying full moon salt. She's gonna be like, what? And she is full moon salt. Look
Absolutely
at that.
incredible. Again, that that picture was just taken in the moment. You've just got to move and shift when you're doing it. You've really got to be on the ball and try and predict where they're going to go, what they're going to do. It's yeah, when it works, it works amazingly.
She's another bright star there in the UK. Like, do you ever stop back and think like, oh my gosh, people like Mandy and the other gentleman we just showed the picture, the two young stars. Do you ever think back like, oh my gosh, these two are like the future of like the independent scene in the UK wrestling scene?
100%. I think like Wes and Maddie are the type of people you'll have the potential to end up on the WWE or whatever, because they're just such a talent at such a young age, and the drive and the passion that they already have for it now. If they can keep going with that, the world's completely there for them. And I can say I took pictures of them, so.
Yeah. Like, do you ever think about like you could did you send her that picture? Because that'd be like a perfect 8x10 picture for her to have on the table right there.
Yeah, 100%. I'd actually just finished editing that event. The first thing I did was sent it to Maddie and did a post of it myself. I was like, no, I'm posting that first.
Yes. I would say send that to her. Say, hey, Joe needs this picture, like for a post. She'll be like, for what? What does Joe need a picture of me upside down? I'll be like, moonsault. He thinks it's awesome. Like, so like, if my fans in the UK in the United States are like I always ask this to wrestlers because I live in a small town. Is there anything that you like? You say you don't eat that much, but like at the end of the shows, if you want to eat somewhere local, like where is it that local spot that you know that it's going to be open after a show? Where would you say that would be?
Oh, for me, I'd always like. Do you know what? I'd always have to go for a pizza pan.
Ooh,
Always
okay.
gotta go for a pizza pan. They you get pizzas, but Pizza Pan are the best pizzas ever. They're just the stuffed crust, the perfectly layered, perfectly cooked. I can actually probably devour a 10-inch one of them to myself on a good day.
Ooh, what's that? What's on your normal pie? Plain pizza or anything on it?
So it's a toss up. It's either going to be pepperoni, double pepperoni, or I'm going to go completely crazy. And please don't hate me. Uh, ham, chicken, pineapple.
Pineapple. Okay, okay.
And honestly, it is absolutely beautiful. And sweet corn as well. You've got to have the sweet corn on there.
Yeah, because it's still pineapple has a little sweet on it. Any Italian in my in my in the New York area that just saw this went, what pineapple? No, we thought we liked the like every promoter that's watching this in Brooklyn are going, we're gonna hire her to come in here to the what did she just say? Leave that
That's it.
message. She said,
Cancelled. Done.
nope,
No,
pineapple, you're not coming to Brooklyn. Nope.
it is. I am a pineapple on pizza lover, but so yeah, pizza is definitely my go-to food.
Mm. You could also do the Hawaiian pizza. That one has pineapples and ham and right, pineapples and ham. That's another good one.
I think it might have pepper on it. I can't have peppers. They give me like the worst tummy ache ever. In fact, I can't have like even the remotely spiciest food ever. I
Yep.
can have lemon and herb Nando's, and I've just been to Belfast for a few days to watch Blink 182 and to do a bit of sightseeing. And I had this. It was like basically just peppered chicken, and
Mm.
it was too spicy for me. It was the peppered chicken was too spicy for me.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you know what's funny? Nando's used to come into the chat when I would do this show live on Facebook all the time. And literally Nando's, the representative or whatever, the page would message like during the comments, be like, "Hey guys, great episode." And I'm like, who told Nando's about us? I'm like, and never again, I never saw Nando's pop in the chat again. I was like, Nando's, hey Nando's, me Joe Panther the third. Remember me? Hey, come back. I miss you. I miss seeing you in the chat, Nando's. Hashtag Nando's.
That reminds me. I stream games on Twitch every now and then. I used to do it like more full time, but I've had to take a step back because I've been ill and whatever. But it was International Women's Day, and I was streaming Resident Evil Village. It had just recently come out, and the voice actor who did Jill Valentine in a lot of the games raided me with 500 of her followers.
Oh my
Um,
god.
and I was just like, no way. It was absolutely insane. She got in touch with me via Twitter afterwards. It was really cool. So
I'm
yeah.
jealous because I've never been rated since I've been back on Twitch because I do a nerd culture show. Yes, fans, don't forget to check out me, Rain, and Val for Ghost Head Nerd Talk every Monday on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. That is the Ghost Head Nerd Talk on Ghost Head Nerd Talk 84 on Twitch. Don't forget to give us a Ugh, follow. Yeah. So yeah. So if my fans want to follow you on Twitch. How can they find you?
Ambidrude.
Ambi Root? And you said that?
Ambidrude. AMBIEE. And then DROOD, like druid, but druid.
Okay, cool. Cool. If they want to follow you on social media, how can they find you?
On Facebook, I am on Moonshine Photography. And then on Instagram, I've had to be a bit creative with my name because it was taken. So it's Amber underscore Moonshine underscore photo G.
Mm. Yes. This is the fun part of the podcast. So like, do you have any upcoming shows you're gonna be at?
Yeah, I've got. God, I'm like I've had technically this weekend was meant to be off and next weekend's off. It's like a time off, and then I've got shows near enough every weekend till Christmas, I think.
Oh, wow. Till
Got
Christmas.
yeah,
Jeez. You'll
I've got
be
a really really cool match coming up, which I'm super duper duper excited for though. It's the ladder match at Honor and Glory at LWF, which
mm,
is if I'm correct, it's the 28th. I could be wrong though. Like I'd be a terrible promoter, but
yeah.
yeah, I'm well buzzing for that match. It's gonna be awesome.
Awesome. I'm excited. I'm jealous because I like watching the UK wrestling scene. Like I've had the likes of Kiara on this podcast, Alfie,
Alfie, love
Short
Alfie.
A, Coventry Pro at work. And it's funny, I've had LWF wrestlers, but I never had the promoters or any of the owners on here. And I've been dying. They've looked at my message, but he never said anything.
I'll have a speak to him when I see him and
Yeah, maybe
learning.
they don't know if it's a real podcast or they don't think it's
Well,
a real thing. So
I'm not gonna lie. When you messaged me, I messaged one of my friends who also does a wrestling podcast to just make sure that it wasn't, it was a real thing. And then I went online and checked the YouTube and all that. So you can't be too careful on the internet these days. Unfortunately,
yeah, I
it's
get it.
I hate it. I love it, but I hate it.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. Yeah, I get it. It happens. Everybody just doesn't think it's a real podcast, and then I'm like, it's a link, it's a YouTube link playlist. um, Thank you so much, Amber. I really appreciate you
Ew.
coming on Boots at Ringside. Just share your fun stories from the ring and the fun photography world. Most people would think photographers they're not fun. Oh, they're fun. They're fun.
Thank
I like
you.
to draw my grandmother's soul would be like, this is cool. You're talking to a photographer.
No,
Yeah.
thank you very much. Honestly, this is my first podcast then talking about my pictures. So thank you very much because it's always nice to get to speak about my pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And that's another way,
awesome.
like if a promoter sees the podcast, they're gonna be like, oh wait, he showed her work. So they can like someone wants to grab you, they
Yeah,
can
fingers
they
crossed,
can.
man. I am available for bookings.
Awesome. Good to definitely if you're a promoter watching this podcast in the UK countries or in the States, definitely book Amber to come to the States or in the UK. She'll definitely come by, take your pictures, have fun. And if it's not for a wrestling
Definitely.
event, It could be for your wedding or party or whatever,
Mhm.
So
Whatever.
I thank you so much, Amber. I'm Joe Panther the Third,
And I'm Amber.
and we will catch you in the next one.